Alright, I just got back from seeing Zootopia 2 with give or take 30 to 40 other furries. We nearly rented out the whole theater. Half of my friends got in fursuit, the other half got in fursuit at the end of the movie. We got pictures in front of the whole cardboard cutout in the front of the theater, in the main lobby. It was an amazing time. Highly recommend doing something like that if you can go with friends or put together some huge group showing for any furry-esque film for that matter. It's such a treat. It's such an experience. Would highly recommend. And for me, I especially need it because I have been very antisocial for the past week, and so hey, let's get out and do something for once. And so I was very graciously invited by my friend Gail to go and see Zootopia 2 with a bunch of other furries in the local community, and it was an awesome time. Highly recommend doing something like that. Is Zootopia 2 any good? Yes, actually I would argue that it is better than the first film. I would say in every single way, minus a few things that maybe made it a little lackluster for a sequel. Overall, like, I loved it. I have not had that much fun going to see any sort of furry movie. I loved Zootopia 2. It was an upgrade in every single way from the original film, from getting to see different areas of Zootopia, from like the different biomes or cities, with seeing the marshlands and seeing the frozen tundra a bit more. I believe that Sahara, Savannah, desert area, look, don't crucify me for that. I know it's kind of a cardinal sin for any furry to mispronounce or not remember any of the areas in Zootopia. But yeah, it was a nice dip into the universe that it set. It was pretty much an expansion of everything, but the way the film worked was it got the point across that, okay, you saw the first film, you know this universe, let's just keep showing you some cool shit. And that was pretty much the whole film, the whole adventure. I would argue like the whole case that they were working on was a little lackluster compared to the first film, with that one being about predators versus prey, and like why are some of them going wild and berserk? And they have the big twist villain being the secretary. In this film, it was a little lackluster compared to the first one, but overall in terms of like the viewing experience with the characters, getting to know them, getting to meet them for the first time, it was pretty great. The environments were great. Getting to see what Zootopia life was like in the different biomes, or I guess areas in Zootopia, was really cool. Even learning about how Zootopia was created in the first place was really, really cool. And I didn't think they would even pull that out from the, I guess, premise of what the film was supposed to be. But it was really cool to see, and honestly, I want to go back and watch it again. It's just one of those films where it's so rich and deep, with other characters just casually strutting along as there's like a chase scene happening in the back. So much going on in the background when you're so focused on what's going on in the foreground, or like the action. Which also I feel like plays into getting to know Gary a little bit, like the other headline character for Zootopia 2 in general, Gary the Snake, first name Gary, last name Snake. And he was perfectly portrayed and voiced by Ke Huy Quan. Honestly, I'm so glad to see that guy in more and more films ever since Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like when I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, I loved it. I think it was my favorite actor in that film, and just seeing him pop up in more and more stuff now after that whole drought that he'd had from like with his beginning of acting in his childhood in Indiana Jones, you know, the kid in Indiana Jones. Yeah, he's the kid in Indiana Jones. Having that whole drought from there, and then being in Everything Everywhere All at Once, just seeing him in like Zootopia or like as a character voicing one really, really makes me happy, because he is a phenomenal actor. He's a phenomenal voice actor, and that was very, very evident when he was voicing Gary. He was probably the character that was most excited to hear out of everyone in that film, besides Macaulay Culkin, which you only get like little brief glimpses at that. And yes, Macaulay Culkin voices a character in Zootopia 2. In fact, a lot of very well-known voice actors, or just actors in general, voice characters in Zootopia 2. Like literally, go to the casting list of all the voice actors and characters for Zootopia 2. It kind of, for me, felt like Spy Kids 3D, when I'd like hear a voice of a well-known actor that I recognize in passing through the film, like, Macaulay Culkin, what are you doing in here? Michael J. Fox? What the fuck? Why are you here? Guys, I know it kind of goes without saying that you should probably watch Zootopia 2. Knowing most of my audience is furries, I mean, you know, telling a furry to go and see Zootopia is the equivalent of fork found in kitchen. Honestly, please go and watch this film. If not, see it a second time. I know I will, with a whole other group of friends, because there were probably some things that I missed in it that I wanted to see a bit more. The only downside to the film that I didn't like is there were no life jackets. However, there were the dancer tigers for Gazelle or Shakira, who were wearing the white sparkly puffer vest, which, Look, it's great because Zootopia 2 was really, really good, and it focused on like a set, like kind of species demographic in Zootopia. You got to see a bunch of the lizards and reptiles and snakes that you didn't get to see in the first film, and in the second film, they're kind of the major plot point of it. So I'm assuming with Zootopia 3, it's just going to keep branching out into the other areas of Zootopia and flesh out the universe there. Which honestly, I am all for if they're going to do it the way they have in Zootopia 2, and if they manage to pull off some plot line from Zootopia 1, you arguably have one of the more perfect anthropomorphic animal media movies out there, at least in my opinion. It was an awesome time overall. If you haven't done anything like that with like a group of local friends, whether furry or not, especially if it's furries, and there's like a furry film out, do yourselves a favor and either organize something or join something with it. It is so fucking fun. For me, that's like the epitome, like the pinnacle experience of what the furry fandom is about outside of cons. The local community and the friends you make, all sharing in the same experience of loving anthropomorphic animal characters so much that you dress up in costume or cosplay to the premiere of Zootopia 2. And it was really good. I loved the film. And I'm not really one to super gravitate towards like anthropomorphic animal character media films. Like I loved Puss in Boots 2 Last Wish when I saw that. I especially love Death Wolf because love Death Wolf. But even for this film, I didn't really have any characters that I super gravitated towards that I like loved. Maybe like the new ones I really enjoyed. Like you got to get more dynamic between like Nick and Judy for like their partner dynamic when working on cases, or just in general with their friendship with interacting with one another, which was a really nice little subplot in this film, which the lesson of that is like proper communication, opening up even past like personal traumas and insecurities or projections that you might have. It was really nice to kind of see that and see the two characters open up to one another and really just acknowledge that they both care deeply about one another. Not to the extent of, I would assume, romantic love. I can almost guarantee Disney is steering clear of anything related to the Zootopia abortion comic, and I think they really worried that if as soon as people saw those two kissing, that it's like, oh, this is happening, it's canon now. I liked little jokes and references they made here and there, like the dick stuck in a tuba. And I don't mean that the way it sounds, but literally a dick got stuck in a tuba and they mentioned it twice in the film. I like the little jokes and quips they had here and there, where Nick said, oh, well, I'm suffering from childhood trauma. And then Chief Bogo's like, well, would you like to suffer from adult trauma? I don't know if that's the exact quote or line, but it goes kind of like that. And it was really funny of like, well, what about some adult trauma? We can add to that. Which also, Idris Elba absolutely killed it as Chief Bogo. I love listening to Idris Elba speak, period. Also, going into like the music of Zootopia, the main theme by Shakira, called Zoo, I would argue is better than the theme for the first movie. I think the energy and vibes for Zoo in this film are so much better and really kind of capture what that whole fantasy-like nature of like anthropomorphic animal characters being animals is about. Also, you got to see the tigers again, twice actually, 2 times. You got to see them for the first time in these big puffy sparkly vests, and then you got to see them at the end during like the credits and everything, which was also nice to see. Now for the plot overall, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was like a nice touch to kind of see the history of Zootopia and see how it kind of shifted and changed and how history was changed as a result of things happening, and then the truth ended up coming out, and then everyone lived happily ever after. There's also another biome that they do explore and they bring back. I can't really spoil that, but it is also really cool to see and kind of fills in the gap of what you might have maybe picked up on in the first Zootopia film, which is kind of the plot line for Zootopia 2 of like snakes and reptiles haven't been seen in forever and they're effectively banned from Zootopia or were exiled from Zootopia. And then there's a spotting of a snake here and there, which is Gary the snake, and he's on a mission, which can't really spoil what that is, but long story short, everyone becomes fugitives and starts running away from one another. Either way, I love Zootopia 2. It was a fantastic watch. The vibes were immaculate. The group that I went with, I couldn't have asked for any better of an experience with going to see it with the friends that I did. Again, big shout out and thank you to Gail for organizing the whole thing. Best con mom and best furry that I know, period. Objectively, just the best furry ever. I'm sorry, everyone else. Just Gail is the best furry ever, in my opinion. And if anything, I feel more than rejuvenated being in the furry community and getting to enjoy it again. Like, low-key, I felt like I wanted to put on my fursuit head after the movie and just kind of enjoy being a dumb, fluffy animal character, being like a cute sheppy in their cutesy, in their very overly vibrant hyena hoodie. I didn't really have any proper clothes to go to this movie in, but regardless, it made me feel rejuvenated with regards to the community again, and I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to be able to go and see it with the group of friends that I did. And I recommend you do the same as well, just in general. Go and see this movie with other furry friends. I think you guys will really, really like it. But either way, that was my Zootopia 2 review. I would give it, I'd say, for a rating, 8.59 out of 10. Wasn't a perfect film, but I would like to argue that it was probably one of the better anthropomorphic animal media cartoon animation films that I have seen in a while. And I think it is going to be the most referenced for years to come. And on top of that, I'm excited to see what effect it will have on the furry fandom, because Zootopia 1 had a pretty big impact on the community. I mean, I ended up here as a result. And I'm sure there are plenty of new gen furries or plenty of folks who are kind of dabbling with the furry community and maybe go and see this film, and it's gonna maybe change their mind about wanting to join and and they'll want to. About being on the fence about joining, and they'll want to. I don't know, man. It was just a good movie. Go and watch it if you haven't already. I'm excited to see how it's going to affect the furry fandom at large. Hopefully positively, and probably positively. And the fact that it is a sequel from the original Zootopia and had some pretty big shoes to fill, and it ended up pulling it off pretty well, that's really cool. If you have another movie that you want me to review, be sure to let me know in the comments. I mean, I guess I could do a weird goal thing of if this video hits 3,000 likes, I'll go and do a movie review of GOAT, which I think is coming at some point in December. I saw the trailer for it when I went to see Zootopia 2, and it was really good. It was a really, really good trailer. So I'll maybe want to see that one. So that's about gonna do it for me. Have a good night, take care, life stay jacket, treat people like people, go out there and enjoy Zootopia 2 if you haven't already. And that's about it for me, guys. Take care.